Hey everyone, welcome to JoJo's World.
Good morning.
Joining us on a pleasant Saturday noon where I've just finished recounting the entire plot of Pirates of Penzance to Nick.
Sounds dope, can I just
It's
say?
a very silly show. I saw it this week after having only seen bits of it over the years. Very entertaining.
I am a big fan of farces.
Yeah, it's
can I
a
just say?
ridiculous farce from top to bottom where everyone's defined by their occupation and lacks the essential quality to be good at that occupation.
If we were in that play, what would
we are.
What would our job / lacking quality be?
Oh, so we're not transposing ourselves onto characters.
Oh, absolutely
If we
not.
were the kind of people who would be in that play.
No, because we know that the main character, Walter or whatever,
Nick, we're
would be
podcasters who aren't
Sonic.
good at podcasting.
It's true.
That's true, he would be Sonic. I was thinking the other day, Nick, about how you're like Sonic
Yeah,
in that, you know, obviously you're pure of heart and fast.
of course.
And I'm
so
like
quick.
Dr. Robotnik.
In that you're morally evil.
My role in the podcast is to provide little pre-prepared stages for you to react to.
Okay. Why am I not Miles?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
like, okay, because I'm like, Miles is like
Miles
a...
Taylors per hour.
Yeah, exactly. Why am I not like Miles?
Why are you calling him Miles?
Because that's his name.
It's his
Miles.
first name and you respect him.
Yeah, his name is Miles per hour.
What is wrong? Who just calls him Miles?
I don't know. I heard it and I was like, oh, okay, that's his name.
Is it Tails?
I know it's Tails. but
Tails!
This is...
Oh, that's what his name is.
Oh, his name is Tails. Oh.
I don't want to hear any questions about the Tails.
Look, I like Arthur Knuckles Johnson.
I'm Liam S. Smith, one of your co-hosts.
And I'm Nick Ballantyne, the other one of the co-hosts.
Is somehow JoJo's World, our JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recap and discussion podcast.
Where we're recapping and discussing.
Legend of Galactic Heroes.
Which is the greatest anime ever made. Well, it's not, though.
It's one of the anime of all time.
It really is.
Can you believe one of our friends referred to this as a niche show?
Who?
I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going
Tell me.
to call them out on air.
I have a knife. I'm gonna go to their house and be like,
I mean, I'll delete it, but it was...
how
You were
dare...
in the room when it happened.
Wait, was I? How long ago was this? Why did you do it? I have a knife.
We're 1 week out at time of recording
Yeah.
from JoJo Day.
Oh, shit.
Which means that we are 3 weeks out from the listeners hearing our thoughts on JoJo Day.
So, JoJo Day, right? It implies the announcement of some kind of JoJo's material.
And it has been announced that, and I've taken this from breaking 11 hours ago news on comicbook.com.
My only source of trusted news.
Warner Bros. Japan is facilitating worldwide viewing of the JoJo Day event for around $38 USD.
What? Go back. Worldwide viewing.
So I'll quote this article verbatim.
$38. Okay.
Why am I getting a... What the fuck? I'm getting a Google Ads video with Sharon Strzelecki from Kath and Kim in 2025.
Yeah.
Australian bogan face sitcom from 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's the new happening. They're bringing back Kath and Kim in terms of the advertisements to do nostalgia.
Okay.
Don't you want Google Ads?
Quote. JoJo fans around the world will have the opportunity to stream JoJo Day live for a price. And of course, this will be going up a day or two after JoJo Day, so this is pointless to share in a promotional sense. But in terms of building anticipation, it's interesting.
For us, it's very important.
For around $38 USD, North American fans and those outside of Japan will have the chance to watch all the events that take place for the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure themed day. By clicking here, you can secure your streaming ticket right now. I, of course, will not be doing this because I have no interest in watching a promotional event, even though we have a material interest in our hobby in knowing things about JoJo's.
Yeah. So this is...
But that seems to, you know...
This is like a live stream that you pay for. It's like a concert.
And I expect by the time I edit this, we will know the results of JoJo Day. So I'll probably do the world sound effect in which I will have just explained
what it was.
It's Steel Ball Run, baby!
Oh, whoa. And why you would pay $38
for the announcement of, let's say, a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure event in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius.
Here's my...
Or what was that fucking Yoko Taro gacha? Cyno Blood
with
Alice or something?
Yeah, with the women who were all in gothic dresses.
Yeah.
And then he did that interview where every single character, they were like, what do you think? And he was like, looks great. I think it'll sell very well. And then he went to the next one. It's like, what do you think of this character? It's like, looks great. It'll sell very well. But what if it's part 7?
So time will tell / time will have told by the time you're hearing my voice.
Listen, future Liam, you know exactly what to do with Liam's voice right now.
And Nick, I think the impending possibility of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 7 Still Will Run has given me sort of an inflection moment to think about the state of the pod, which I'd like to ruminate on, if you'll indulge me.
Go on. We're all dying.
I mean, look, you know,
One day at a time.
We are a hobbyist pod. I'm happy with our hobbyist pod in that context, but I do wonder if we've fallen into a bit of a comfortable groove lately.
What are you trying to say?
I mean, nothing specifically.
Oh, okay.
So, is there more exciting stuff we could be doing?
The first thing that came into my mind, you know, whenever any TV executive is like, what can we do to make this more exciting? And typically it just devolves into, what about adults-only version of this TV show? Like,
adults-only feral TV, for instance.
Adults-only feral TV, adults-only Big Brother, adults-only The Block, adults-only Survivor.
Adults-only Agro's Cartoon Connection.
Agro's only Cheese TV.
Agro's only... only Agro can watch it,
You couldn't do
Agro's
adults only
on
for
it.
that. No, you couldn't do adults only for Cheese TV because there's too much Dragon Ball Z.
Adults-only Muppets.
Adults only Muppets. Adults only Cheers. Adults only Frasier. Adults only Frasier Returns.
Adults-only Muppet Babies.
Adults only Mario Party. Adults only Nintendo Direct.
Adults-only Steam Wishlist.
Adults only Steam Wishlist, which is just my Steam wishlist, I think. Adults only JoJo's World.
JoJo's World After Dark.
Yeah. We're naked right now. That's it.
We could do, like, okay, you know how I and no one else have bought into, the little nicknames that I come up with for the off-season. Like, this is the JoJo's World
Oh,
Galactic
yeah.
Tour. If we ever do, like, a vampire show or something. I mean, shit, we've already done 3 vampire shows. We've done
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Castlevania, and arguably Bakuno with the weird hand thing eating.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm kind of undercutting my own point here. But if we did another vampire show, like Hellsing or some shit, we could call that JoJo's World After Dark, because that's when vampires come up.
And then I'll only do that. I'm trying to think of, like, what is the adult twist to keep it fresh and exciting?
Oh, we do, like, Cosmo sealed section advice. Or is that Dolly? It doesn't matter.
Write into us at JoJo's World, and we'll tell you all the answers from a very unqualified
6 ways to cheese your TV. I was going to say to please your man with your stand.
6 ways to get a vampire to have sex with you. Number 1, eat a lot of garlic, but like the Coles garlic, the garlic you get from the tub.
Keep going.
Number 2.
Or stop, actually. No, I'm getting off. We're having fun and we're getting off track.
As
but,
we do.
What I'm driving at is, like, for instance, I'm reflecting on, like, when we do 2 episodes of an off-season show in one podcast episode, is that too much recap to the detriment of our banter? Things like that. Obviously being hobbyists, there are some hard constraints and any changes we can make. Like, for instance, we're not really in a position to go back to weekly episodes.
Yeah.
But, I wonder if there's other more interesting ways we could be handling the pod. Or not more interesting, but just like to freshen things up.
But definitely not more interesting, okay? We will never provide interesting content.
I think, we've been pretty open in our, not our contempt for the listeners, but our intent to just, like, kind of do the thing we're doing and do it the way that works for us. But, if people have any suggestions, and, obviously non-binding, JoJo's World at bluesky.com or whatever it is.
I don't know why.
JoJo's World.net on Blue Sky. Let us know if you have any thoughts, And I will say, please be nice, of course. We're hobbyists, so...
I don't know why in my brain, the second you said non-binding, I immediately went non-binding, non-binary, non-something else with, like, a bin at the front. But I have no idea why my brain did that.
So you're not being helpful.
No. I have no feedback whatsoever on this point.
Okay.
Other than, hey, listener, go at Liam. Because, I don't know, maybe they have good advice or something? I don't know.
I'm thinking about this at the moment. All this to say.
So...
And it may all be entirely redundant if they announce that JoJo's is back now, and that we are going to go back to our tried and true original formula.
Of course. You've been...
And obviously, another element of that is the fact that we spent the last basically year watching a show about meetings where...
Yes.
What's that Lennon quote? There are
What?
there are weeks, there are decades when nothing happens, and then weeks where decades happen, or something like that. I feel like this was an episode where decades happen of Legend of Galactic Heroes,
Yeah.
but there are decades of episodes where nothing happens.
Yeah, I think we watched Lowengram literally walk from room to room, and we were like, yes, enthralling content.
Let's jump on into it.
Hit me with
Unless
it.
you have anything else to share.
I don't know. That's my normal.
Do you have a new
response to-
patron to shout out or anything?
Not really.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you want to double check those notifications? Because I thought I saw one when you were looking at them before.
Oh no, they're all free memberships.
Oh, okay. Ugh.
Liam, 5 minutes ago. Well, it's not about contempt for the listener. Liam now, those sick fucks.
Or put a comment on the Patreon, so Nick has to deal with it instead of me.
Oh no. Yeah, send me a message on Patreon and I will happily respond.
Oh no. Torpedoing our brand.
I will respond eventually.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about the pod, and maybe we can do some new exciting stuff if JoJo's is still a ways off once we finish this tranche of LOTGH.
Yeah.
But now, on to that.
The year is 798. Or 496. Or maybe 498.
There's 2 years.
Maybe there's 2 years.
And they're the same year.
And the key thing...
It's December.
It's December.
No, but I wanted to... in the spirit of constant improvement, especially when we do these double headers, I wanted to do a quick... overarching, 2-sentence, 3-sentence thing of what actually happens in these two episodes. So people know what we're going into. So basic, and I'll try and do this going forward as well.
Okay. Because Legend of Galactic Heroes is a complicated show.
So these two episodes, as I said, a lot happens comparative to some other episodes.
Yes.
The first episode, the sounding of the Gjallarhorn, is Ruental's assault on Isolone Fortress, which Yang repels, and this is all part of a ruse to prelude Operation Ragnarok and the invasion of Fazan. So
Which is
at the end of the episode, he backs off and says, we're going to call for reinforcements. And they do that. And everyone observes it across space and time. Not time, just space. Although, arguably, Yang Wenli is a historian. More on that later.
Just like, arguably across time and space. But not time. But aren't we all...
But time
across
because of the future looking back.
Yeah, because of human memories.
Been reading a lot of Homestuck lately. You might be able to tell. Then in the second episode, it is, meanwhile, Mittermeier goes and occupies Fazan, and it's Julian's response to that. It's Rupert Kesselink getting his shit kicked in by Adrian Rubinsky, and just basically the fallout from the invasion.
And Lowengram being like, well, everything could have gone better, but we did it.
So, let's get into it.
Okay, it's December.
Nick, I was thinking about Yang Wen Li between episodes, and this is because, I'm gonna just cite my source quickly.
Are you thinking about him as a person, or are you thinking about him as like...
As a character.
You have been reading a lot of home stuff.
So I said to my friends recently, 2025 is the year where I get back into literary criticism and become more annoying than ever before. So look forward to that. I never responded to this because I am...
Terrible.
Because I'm terrible, and I haven't really been using social media as much recently. Okay, well, I've got 2 things to share, it turns out. It's been a while since I've logged into the JoJo's World Blue Sky. And I wanted to shout out JoJo's Bizarre Podcast as a prelude to me talking about Yang Wen Li.
Oh, yeah?
Because they said, let's do a crossover where we only talk about Yang Wen Li, and I never responded because I didn't have the mental energy at the time.
Well, guess what? We'll do it.
Yes, if you actually listen and you weren't just replying to the episode post, we'd love to hear from you again soon.
Dude, I'd be all about it.
But I've just seen beneath that from a month ago, Zach has blue skied at us. I'm going to quote this here.
Wait, Zach from Auntie Donna,
No.
Zach?
Why would it be Zach from Auntie Donna?
I don't know.
Zach, a listener, Zach, who has corresponded with us a couple of times before.
Well, that's even better.
JoJo'sWorld.net is my favourite Australian podcast that can't go one episode without bringing up 9/11. Oh, you got us good.
Oh, shit. Well, you really 9/11'd us there, didn't you?
And brackets, genuine. I'm really tickled by that. No, but I was thinking about Yang Wen Li recently.
I
Can
can't.
I just call this episode 9/11? Is that going to be problematic?
No. It's just gonna be we actually talk about stuff. Brackets genuine.
Yeah. Okay.
Just incredible work.
No, Yang. I was thinking about Yang's place in the narrative and like how, obviously his whole conceit is that he is the genius admiral who hates being a soldier and just wants to be a historian.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about like how passive he is. Like he keeps threatening to resign, but he never actually does it. And, there's obviously a lot of, like, political pressures that he feels there in terms of, like, being the only, like, moral soldier in the Alliance.
Too relatable.
But also, like, he's ended up with his ideal post where, he's away from everyone else in eyes alone.
Yeah. And he just
And
sits...
until, Reinhardt inevitably launches his next attack, he just gets to be passive, like, living his little life out there in his own little fiefdom.
And he just doesn't have to worry too much about war so much as he just sits and waits.
And he keeps talking about how he wants to be a historian, and I'm sure he's like made some historical parallels for the sake of exposition to like, oh, that's like what the Ruental dynasty did. But we never actually see him like do historian shit.
I mean, he probably doesn't have time because he has to take care of Isolone Fortress.
Which is constantly being invaded.
Yeah. Literally
it's
every second week.
He's an interesting fellow, Yang Wenli.
Yeah, he's really tired. Like Kakashi from Naruto.
Next been watching a lot of Naruto recently. But we don't have time to talk about that.
Oh.
We've done it before.
Have we? Oh, we must have. Okay.
This never stopped us before, but now I'm declaring, because it's been 20 minutes, it's time to talk about the episodes.
We talked too much about rumination and Naruto, and now it's time to move on with our lives.
So I do want to think about ways of getting less bogged down in just recapping the events, but I don't have a solution yet. One solution is, of course, just do one episode at a time.
Another solution, shoot me in the head.
Yeah.
Be free of this podcast.
Sometimes I'm just going around my life and I do just chant to myself, shoot me in the mouth. Shoot me in the mouth.
Liam, are you okay?
I'm fine.
Liam, what the hell's going on? It's December.
It's a beautiful episode. Everyone is so glossy in the touched up animation.
The DVD release? It's good stuff.
And Ruental is attacking Isolone Fortress. Odd Eyes Ruental.
Yang Wenli is like, better defend Isolone Fortress.
Spends the whole episode sitting on his desk, bisexual style, and being like, wow, that Ruental sure is a beautiful commander.
I hate how accurate bisexual style is.
You know what I mean, though.
I do. I really do. God damn it. Oh. So he's there. He refuses to sit down because he has a job to do.
Yeah. There's a fleet engagement where basically, I think Dusty's got a fleet out there, and it's in amongst Ruental's fleet, which kind of encircles them in a bad way. Yeah. It's like, oh, we can't use our main gun. We've got to get them back.
Yeah, there's something about like the blind spot of the big turret.
Yeah, there's a lot of talking about the blind spot of the main gun in this episode. But long story short, there's this nested series of schemes.
You mean an incredible scheme?
Go on.
So
well, no, there's a nested series of schemes, is what I mean to say. Because first Ruental is doing his like encircling the main fleet, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But then they notice, and this is presaged by Shenkop walking on stage and smiling on screen and smiling smugly, like, I've got a cunning ruse.
Yes.
Ruental out on his command bridge has his attention drawn to the Hyperion, Yang's flagship.
That's just undocked for some reason.
Yeah, and we, as canny, media-savvy listeners, know that because we never see Yang or anyone on the interior of the Hyperion's bridge, that obviously this is a ruse. But Ruental doesn't have our knowledge of dramatic irony.
Alas, he is diegetically not an idiot. But to us, we're like, oh, you idiot.
And so Shenkop's scheme was to use the Hyperion to draw out an aggressive push from Ruental, then use their cool, like, umbilicaled boarding missiles to get into Ruental's flagship and cut everyone up with axes.
Yeah.
It's another axe episode, you guys.
Anytime there's axes on screen, Liam immediately is like, yes!
Look, it just goes... I've said and I've said that I've said so many times this is a show about meetings, but every now and then it switches to like berserk mode and it's just 0 from 100 immediately.
Yeah. It's
like,
0 from 100.
Flip that.
It's 100 to 1,000,000.
Yeah.
So, literally the moment that Shenkop boards, which, by the way, so the way it boards is that it does
like these umbilical missiles.
Yeah, but then
that like burn through the hull.
No, the missiles don't. The boarding ship seems to. So it like latches on, and then there's like a drill that just melts the exterior of the ship.
Yeah,
it's like,
cool as hell.
What the fuck? How hot is that? It's like in Phantom Menace when they're cutting through the door with the lightsabers.
Yeah.
And it's just red hot, and you're like, damn, that's pretty
Red
hot.
hot.
Yeah.
Red Hots. Street gun name desire. Not important.
So
yeah, this is like the Phantom Menace. You're right, Nick.
Yeah, so they board the ship, and then they pull out their axes, and they just start murdering people.
So
and the first
it's
people...
so funny because Shenkop charges in, and there's all these enemy stormtroopers yelling at him with their guns. And
by that you mean firing at him with guns.
And all the bullets are either missing or bouncing harmlessly off him, and we're just sitting there watching like, what do the guns do? He's wearing his like space armor, but it just seems to be entirely invulnerable.
Like, he just runs in.
And then he runs forward, and he does this like 3 times in this episode, which is cut down 3 people with a single swing of his axe.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Like, even the bit where he gets right before Ruental, he's just mowing down dudes non-stop.
And we do, like, I love how, like, petite the handguns in this show look. Like, they're just a little, like, snub space pistol, and they shoot, like, a laser pointer-sized laser at you. But as we'll see later in this episode, that can just kill you, because
it's a laser.
Yeah.
It's like
But as a result, when he's running and being unharmed because of his armor by the tiny lasers, that just makes them look so pathetic. And most of them miss, but every now and then one just like hit one of the metal points of his armor and ping off.
But it's just... What's the point of the guns?
The guns, they do nothing!
It's just like they keep missing.
Your guns only make me stronger.
And the best part is he takes off his helmet. So it's like, they could just aim for the head. But they can't hit him because he's hitting them with axes.
Yeah.
Like, he's too strong.
The axe is mightier than the gun.
Oh, it's a tale as old as time itself. You remember when the Vikings invaded the Nords with their axes?
I don't know if anything you just said is true.
And they showed up and they're like, we're here to ask you a question. And they start mowing dudes down with axes. And they were like, all right, get the guns. And they got the guns, but the Vikings were like, we have axes. And that's why the Vikings won. The Vikings won.
Is anything you just said true or accurate?
I want to say Vikings having axes is moderately accurate because most people in the time era of Vikings probably had axes.
Well, axes are cheaper than swords.
Axes are the... Hang on, I'll get this. They are...
I can see Nick's brain, like, steam starting to shoot out of his ears with how hard his brain is working to finish the sentences. Axes are...
Axes are the salt and vinegar chips of the potato world.
Expound on that.
Everyone loves them. They're very versatile because they can be
Did
used...
you say axes are the salt and vinegar chips of the potato world?
Yeah.
Of the weapon world?
No, I know what I said.
The potato world? You mean Ireland?
Yeah, Potato Island.
Potato Island.
Hello, welcome to Potato Island.
We're really on one today.
We've got original, salt and vinegar.
That's it. That's all you need.
Those are all the flavours.
If you're English, you can have cheese and onion because no one else is going to want it.
Fucking get wrecked, England.
I want to share this quote.
Okay.
It's Yang sitting on his bridge, real bisexual-like,
I hate how accurate it is.
watching the boarding action happen. And he says to himself, or the people around him, it doesn't matter. He says to us.
To everyone.
Yeah. Ruental is a first-class commander. To trip him up, this kind of second-rate trick is rather more effective. They've used some basic bullshit that he would underthink.
Yeah, it's the classic, these guys
It's so
are clearly...
simple, it's brilliant.
Yeah, these guys are so smart, which means they're fucking idiots.
Yeah. Long story short, Shenkop goes character action mode on the whole ship until he ends up in, Ruental's personal armory or something? The room where he keeps the armoured suit he was going to get into?
I don't know what this... I think it's just a normal armory, but at the same time, it is very
But it's got
fancy.
a lot of, fancy, filigree around the doors.
I could swear that's just what Imperial stuff looks
Probably,
like. But at the
probably.
same time, it's very small.
He gets in there. There's 3 guys in there. There is Ruental, who's got his back turned because he's about to open his space wardrobe and put on his space armor. And then there's 2 Imperial mooks.
Yep.
Imperial mooks fire their surprisingly effectual guns and immediately kill the 2 Rosenritter backing up Shenkov.
No.
By shooting them in the
chest.
soft padded neck area, the gorget.
The gorget.
I think that's what the neck armor is called.
The gorget.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it.
The neck bit.
And that kills them instantly. Shenkop responds by killing them instantly with his axe.
He literally just ducks and then murders
and then
them.
cuts them in half.
And it's like, what is the point of the guns?
And then my highlight, the called shot from here, we get the thing I never thought we'd get in this show, an anime knife fight.
And it's like, the shots are peak anime.
Yeah. Quote, Admiral Ruenthal, and he responds, Alliance hunting dog. And he says, I'm Walter von Schenkop. I'll have you remember that for the short time until you die. He throws his helmet at Ruenthal, and then follows up with the axe. Ruenthal backflips away and then pulls out his pistol, which he uses to basically shoot the axe in half.
Very effectively.
Yep. And then Schenkop responds by throwing the broken axe haft at his hand, knocking the gun away. And then we're like, oh no, they're both unarmed.
They're so evenly
do a fist
matched.
fight. But then they both draw knives. Schenkop from his back holster, and then Ruenthal from the back holster of one of his fallen allies.
Yep.
And then they're having an anime knife fight, where there's like close-ups on their eyes as they do a special attack and
I think
parry each other.
the best shot by far is when Ruenthal's doing like a... What would you call this hand motion?
He's like sticking out his palm flat and running forward with his knife.
Yeah.
For us, like he would palm your fist, your chest, and then
and
stab
it's
you in the gut.
It's framed as like you see the full upper half of his body.
This shot here.
Yeah, that shot there. It's like
It's a classic run forward to stab you shot.
Yeah.
It's
It's
if he was a
Power
little more
Rangers.
athletic, he would be doing the Utena stab forward towards
Oh
camera.
yeah. It's literally that.
I say a little more athletic, he did just do a backflip.
He is about athletic as you're gonna get from this show.
Yeah.
And it's like it's just such like anime, like 1990s.
There's little lines of white motion speed shooting out from his hand towards the camera.
It's the stereotypical archetype of what anime became throughout the 80s, distilled into this shot.
So game recognizes game, but then more guys show up with axes. They're driving the Rose and Ritter back, and they have to retreat.
Yeah. So they run.
But they had hoped they would kill Ruenthal in this, but the real objective that they still set it in was to distract the ship from destroying their own fleet that was there. Dusty gets back to Isolone, as does Schenkop. It's all fine. There's a lot of guys, just a lot of just corpses and axes and blood on the ground.
And Ruenthal's like, whew.
He says, I've acted out a ridiculous farce. For a person who's a fleet commander to engage in hand-to-hand combat. So they're the notorious Rosenritter.
I guess they take on orphans.
I hope we've got a budding rivalry.
Of,
Ruenthal and Schenkop.
You never know. You never know.
Or maybe they'll never interact again, because that's what this show's like sometimes.
There's a lot of parts of this show that do make me go, yes. That's that. That's all we're ever going to see.
Then space fleet battle happens where it's the enemy fleet, that is to say, Ruenthal's fleet versus the turrets on Isolone, and a bunch of bullshit happens.
Yep.
Like the what is it? Thor's hammer, the Odin's cannon.
Thor.
Nope.
Hammer.
The Thor's hammer.
The Thor's hammer.
That's right. It was the Thor's hammer on
Mjolnir.
Isolone, and the other fortress had the Raven's claw.
Oh god, the Raven's claw. Never forget.
Yeah, the Thor's hammer is vaporizing ships, and the smaller turrets are also melting through them. But they're also doing damage to the turrets on the Isolone fortress surface, which is disturbing the liquid metal. And they do this gambit where they explode a bunch of their own turrets in the liquid metal to help stabilize and repull it, and that the waves of that also crush some ships. There's a whole space marine, space
stuff.
Space battle going on here.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Schenkop, he's bloody as fuck, but he's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yang Wen Li, he's calm. He's chill. Everyone else, not a huge amount going on for them this episode.
There is a sequence where Frederica sends Yang to get some sleep, and he talks to the cat for a while. But before that, there's this baffling scene
with Poplin
and the other pilot whose name we consistently forget.
Yep. And they're basically talking about
how bored they are because they can't go and have a proper dogfight.
And like
at first.
Yeah, but then it's like, is this thing philanthropism?
They start talking
detrimental
about
to a lover or something.
They start talking about
Julian. Like
it's a really weirdly meandering conversation. So I'm going to find the quote because it's strange. You see, as much so this is the non-Poplin guy.
Mm-hmm.
You see, as much as you're worrying about the state of the battle, our commander has been thinking about it since long ago. And Poplin responds, he doesn't deserve any points as a lover, but as a strategist, no one is better. That rustic genius. So the other guy responds, the opposite of you then. And then he says, I'm not that conceited, because I'm just digesting quantity.
It's just...
To a lover, the thing called philanthropism becomes a matter of demerit. That kind of thing, is it? And they talk about how, like, Poplin and... he used the phrase... Okay, yeah, I'm going to quote it again.
Okay.
Turning the conversation to about how, like, good banter he had with Julian. Talking to you, I've thought of it again, but when I'm playing catch with words with someone, many times my situation and thoughts become organised. So, speaking to someone is a good way of
Knowing them.
putting your thoughts in a rational order.
Which is what we do.
Yeah, they're podcasting.
Yeah.
But a partner is essential for being able to do that. And on that point, Julian was my truly obedient partner.
It just veers. The conversation just veers.
And so then the other guy says, so you're saying that you're feeling Julian's absence even greater than Admiral Yang's? And he says, yep, I guess that boy's value is unexpectedly greater than we think. And they both lean into each other and nod. And that's the end of the scene.
It's so weird.
And they're basically just saying, I miss Julian because he was good for talking shit through with.
Yeah, but alas, he's not here now.
Yep.
He's
Well,
in
I'm just
next
going to have to
episode.
think about having quantity over quality of women.
Love to digest quantity.
Me at the friggin' buffet, right?
Yeah. What?
Digesting quantity at the buffet?
I
Quantity at the buffet.
Quantity at the buffet.
Like with an exclamation point after quantity. Quantity at the buffet.
I'm with you. I'm not with you.
Panic at the Disco.
Oh, because Panic at the Disco is spelled with an exclamation mark at panic.
That's right.
Right, okay.
Quantity at the buffet.
It's just a bunch of extremely large gentlemen that sing Panic at the Disco songs,
Yeah.
but they replaced all the lyrics.
This is our fat-phobic Panic at the Disco cover band.
Oh no! Stop! Oh, terrible.
Yang talks through the strategy and the geopolitical implications to the cat. And basically just saying, like, it's just like with the coup. I'm once again effortlessly deducing everything our enemies are doing.
Yep.
But because of politics and duty, I'm stuck here and I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, the cat walks away midway through his
And it's
little...
animated
idea.
in a way that looks like a lizard walking to me.
A lizard walking?
Yeah.
No
They
way.
kind of crawled over the couch here.
Like a goanna.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess a little bit, yeah. And then Greenhill calls.
Well, yeah, we've kind of alluded to this earlier. The space battle between the turrets and the ships occurs in earnest.
And then Yang's all like, do the gambit.
Yeah, I don't think we need to get bogged down in all the little bits and bobs of just the back and forth of what is ultimately a
combat.
diversionary battle.
Yeah. But ultimately Yang wins?
Well, he pushes
well.
back Ruenthal to the extent that they're able to engage Phase 2 of Operation at Ragnarok, which is quote-unquote calling for reinforcements for this battle actually to go to Fazan.
Yeah.
Which, of course, Yang knows they're going to do, but he can't convince anyone of it,
Yep.
and he is powerless.
And literally everyone here is all like, well, that was a great battle. Well,
Yep. Until next time. And then there's a brief conversation with, I believe it is the Alliance High Command, just talking about how the Imperial have retreated again, but they're still going to be invading. We've still got to stay on guard.
yeah, we still got Yang Wenli in the right place at
Yeah.
the right time.
Conversation between coolest man in space, Adrian Rubinsky, and his traitorous son, Rupert Kesselink. They are talking about the state of space.
Yeah,
and they
Lowengram
turn on the
and whatnot.
TV, they turn on the space TV and watch Lowengram announce that he's sending additional reinforcements to Eyes Alone, but we, with our knowledge of dramatic irony, know that they are going to Fazan.
Those diegetic idiots. So
And
they
the final-
launch the
yeah,
ships.
Final shots of the episode is Reinhardt and Hildegard, for once in military uniform, which I was surprised to see, watching the fleet taking off. And they are both so glossy and so feathered hair because of the DVD touch-ups.
Yep. And it's a sick shot because they're just like standing
And we
watching
can see
this-
just all the glowing red engines of the closest ships glowering down at them.
And there's so many. There's so many ships.
Yeah.
Like so many
1 million
dreams.
troops.
1 million troops.
That's right.
1 million troops.
That's right.
I need to choke up on the mic, but I don't want to blind our listeners.
We should probably both be doing that in general, honestly.
I will never.
I'll never choke on the mic.
So then we get into the next episode where it is described that...
And this episode is, of course, entitled... that was Sounding of the Galahorn, of course. This episode is Fazan Occupied.
So...
I wonder what happens in this one.
The narrator tells us that something like 36,000 ships assaulted Isolone Fortress. But now it's time for reinforcements. But there won't be any reinforcements.
That's right, Nick.
Because I've watched this episode and remember things.
So our first scene is on the bridge with the navigators in their weird little like bondage crowns.
Bondage crowns?
You know what I mean.
What? Oh, you mean headsets.
Yeah, but they're like weird like metal skull cap thingies.
Okay, so they have like a circular bit around their head, and then they have that's like a crisscrossy band that sits on the
hard
head.
To describe in a way it doesn't just sound so stupid.
It's like what someone from Hellraiser would have on their head if it was made of metal, but it's just a headset.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they don't know that they're not going to Isolone
The bridge
Fortress.
crew are like, hey, our coordinates keep taking us further and further away from Isolone with each space jump. Space jump. You ever do improv games?
What?
You ever do improv games?
No.
Space jump?
What is space jump?
Okay, space jump. Okay. Okay, I'm doing this to myself, ultimately.
You were the one!
I know.
You were so excited about theatre not more than an hour ago.
I know.
And now look at you. Defeated.
The theatre-interested guy's dilemma.
It's like, I love
it, but it's all terrible. Space Jump is like an Improv 101 game where, like, or even less than that, it's like high school Improv 101
Improv
game.
000 game.
Where two people are just doing a scene of whatever making.
Okay.
And then you've got it's like a class game, so you've got multiple people.
Oh, is this the one where you start and then someone says
space jump,
and then
everyone doing the scene freezes.
Yeah.
Then a new person comes in, looks at the poses that everyone has frozen in, and starts a new scene based on that.
Okay. Different.
And then you just keep doing that for every player you have.
Yeah. Rightio. Interesting.
Not really.
Yeah.
Every space jump is taking them further and further away from Isolone.
Just like in real life.
And then Mittermeier comes onto the bridge and someone hands him a mobile phone and he says, "Hi everyone, we're going to Fazan instead." And they're like, "Fazan? Really?" And we see shots of all of his crew's dumbfounded, low polygon faces.
There's something about the way that the pilots don't know where they're going that really makes me question how they got here.
Some of these like NPC faces that we're panning to across the ship, it really reminds me of like the difference in character model quality in the Yakuza games between main characters and random street people.
Yeah. Because there's a guy at the front who kind of looks like, okay, he's alright, he's okay. Then there's a guy in the back who basically has no nose.
He looks like a gorilla.
He really does. He's got the beady eyes of like a shark.
And the strength of a gorilla. And the tail of a scorpion.
My God, he's unstoppable.
The perfect animal.
It's the foretold chimera of our times.
That's right.
But what could it mean? What could his presence bring with him?
Probably not much. He probably just needs to go to the shops and get some Campbell's tomato soup.
It's like every time he goes to the shops, there's someone who's like, "The prophecy is foretold." He's like, "Yeah, the prophecy of me needing to buy more eggs."
I hate having to pass through a fog door and fight the Capra demon every time I want to go to the shops.
Man, that would actually be really good exercise, though.
That's not unlike, actually, the most recent Brian David Gilbert video, so credit where that inspiration's due, I suppose.
Wait, what's the most
I'll
recent
show you
one?
when we're done.
Okay. It's not Froghorn?
No, it's like a jaunty quest or something like that.
Oh, okay. Harrowing.
Everyone's so excited to go and invade Fazan, and then they do.
They literally just show up and everyone's like, "Oh my God!"
So this guy didn't actually die, but we cut to the Fazan, like, what is this even? Like, it's their...
the radio
it's
control
their space, it's airport control tower, but for space.
Yeah. And they're just watching and they're like, "Hey, today is my last hour before I see my girlfriend.
I've got another day with my girlfriend and we're going to look at a wedding venue."
He's 1 hour from retirement.
Yep. So we thought this whole space station was just going to get blown up, but it didn't, and they're fine.
Yeah.
And he can still do that.
Yeah, so he's watching the radar. He's like, "Oh my God, look, there's a ship."
I want to talk about these guys' design first, because I
God.
feel like when we've got the photo notes that we use, we sometimes skip over describing the visual elements because they're right there for us. And also, even more than that, the sound elements. Though,
there's no sound in a photo.
Exactly. So we overlook it. When, often there's like a fun Later on in this very episode, there's a very dramatic but pointless musical sting I'd like to draw attention to.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just a matter of trying to... That's another thing about the state of the podcast that I've been thinking about.
See, this is why we ruminate on things that we do in life.
These guys are all wearing bright blue, full-body jumpsuits, and the ones who are actually on the computer terminals are wearing...
Normal headsets.
They're wearing, like, a modern-day headset, but with a Dragon Ball Z scouter over one eye.
Oh my god, there is! I didn't even notice it. Oh.
And 10,000 ships arrive. 20,000 ships.
Oh my god, that's 30,000 ships. There's more. There's always more.
And they're trying to send out, like, fleet, please stay where you are. And then they get invaded. And that's it, really.
Yep, people can see it from the sky and they're like, are those falling asteroids?
Yeah, the people in Fazan who know no war, because they are the peaceful people. The third
faction?
The third situation.
The third room. The third place. When you can't go home to Free Planets Alliance and you can't go to work for the Imperials.
You go to a third place.
You go to a third
where
place.
Everything costs money.
Everyone knows your name in the Fazan Dominion.
That's right.
Do-do-do-do. Is that the Cheers theme?
No.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. That's not the Cheers theme either.
Bom, 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 bom.
That's the Walking Elephant song, isn't it?
You mean Baby Elephant March?
Oh yeah, Baby Elephant.
I was doing Seinfeld.
That was your Seinfeld?
Shut up.
Okay, alright.
Okay. The best scene of this episode...
Wait, it happens this early?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Rupert Kesselink and Adrian Rubinski.
Ah, the fox that plays the violin in the night, but rarely takes the stage.
That's right.
Yeah. He finally takes the stage.
Yeah. Well, he goes even further backstage, arguably.
That is true.
So Kesselink, so Rubinski is like, damn, we're getting invaded. Reinhardt's really outmaneuvered us, and probably Baltic, the Fazan High Commissioner on Odin, has sided with him. Damn. And Kesselink is basically like, this was my scheme all along.
Well, well, well. Adrian Rubinski, seems like your plans are falling apart right before your eyes. Be a shame if someone were to steal your fortune.
Kesselink says, your age is over. You held your post only 4 years. The I still don't know how to pronounce this. The shortest lived Landshare.
Yeah, I think it's
Landesherr.
No, I think it's a Landshire, because it's
in
probably
history.
German.
And he sips his wine. And Rubinski sips his wine and says, can you guarantee my age is over?
And Kesselink's like, yes, I have a gun.
Actors whose parts are finished yet monopolize the stage annoy those who follow. We'd like to ask you to leave the stage promptly. That's Kesselink.
And Adrian Rubinski is like,
ha, you think I'm hard to manage? I must consider that another. And
Kesselink laughs.
Kesselink gets a huge angry face and he exclaims, I didn't know how much you try to beautify yourself.
He's basically gone full mad villain mode.
Yeah, and he pulls out a gun from his white suit pocket. Mm-hmm. He looks like Lad Russo from Barkano.
He really does, doesn't he?
Mm.
Oh, fuck. So he's like...
Russo? Doesn't matter.
And he's like, I just like killing people. I'm going to kill you.
Really? Isn't it eccentric to have an interest in corpses, he says? And Rubinski's not
phased at all.
Phased by this at all. He's still just sipping his wine. Indeed, no sooner than the chance arrives, you bare your fangs. Huh, you know, I would have given you everything one day, my boy. And Kesselink's like, I didn't want you to give me anything. I wanted to take everything from you.
I wanted to seize the universe.
That's right.
And like we get a lot of shots where like the gun is pointing at Adrian Rubinski, like it's just
and he's just not acknowledging.
Yeah, and
I really thought he was just the scene was going to end with Kesselink shooting Rubinski.
But boy oh boy, this show doesn't quit.
Okay, we can't skip past this because something really interesting happens with the subtitles here.
Oh god, this
Kesselink is getting increasingly worked up, and he's standing up. And Rubinski says, he's going to say, come on, Rupert. And Rupert says, shut up! Don't call me my name in such a friendly way. And Rubinski says, and they've used scare quotes here, I am your father.
It's like, Why would you put the quotes around am?
I am assuming they wanted to do this for emphasis. I am your father.
Yeah.
But they,
But it only comes across as like
italicized it or capitalized it. But instead it sounds like he's saying, I'm not your father.
Imagine if in Star Wars
I'm allegedly your father.
Yeah, imagine if in Star Wars Luke is like, "You're not my father," and then Darth Vader just goes, "Well, I am your father."
What are you doing here?
Well, I...
Luke, I am your father.
Luke, I am your father. I'm not your father.
I am your father.
Like, I am... Look, I am the Emperor of the known universe. But I'm not, like... I'm not...
am a giant worm guy.
Look, I am a pirate. Right?
I am a pirate king. Pirates of Penzance reference.
Yeah.
Serious heads will love that.
Look,
I
am
am the very model of a modern major general.
But I don't know anything
about military strategy.
This could just be every character in Pirates of Penzance would just be.
Yeah.
I am,
but
I'm not.
Yeah.
Because this also sounds like a Lena Woodley sketch.
Yeah. I am unleashing the power of the Primal Warrior.
But I'm not going to unleash the power of the Primal Warrior.
Thank you, doke. Great.
Oh man, ridiculous.
Actual quote. I am your father. You'd better let me call you by your first name. And he says, "Father, is it?" And then, "Father." He's getting increasingly worked up, and he's loosening his tie. Yep. He's getting so worked up.
Kesselink just wants to shoot him now, but he can't.
You're going to say, "Father," more. And it's a classic someone's about to shoot someone shot where the barrel is pointed directly into the camera and his I don't know, even furious face, distraught face in the background. His hunched shoulders.
It's all emotions of like sadness, anger, joy,
and
fury.
It's a tight shot on him, but then we suddenly cut to the wider shot of the room as the mirror that he's been standing in front of this whole time bursts with the gunfire of Rubinsky's secret toughs that have been watching all along.
Kesselink turns behind him and he's like,
well,
wait,
he doesn't because he's getting shot in the back a lot. Oh no, you're right.
Yeah, he turns around and he's like, wait, what?
Sorry, I saw the wounds on his back because I forgot they were lasers that just go through it. What if they shot Kesselink and because of the angle of the room, they just killed Rubinsky as well because the lasers go through everything?
Well, that's the beauty is they do... No, they don't. So Kesselink turns around and is like, wait a minute, and then they just shoot him to death.
Yeah, they just airhole him with their little laser pointers.
And Rubinsky walks on and is like, well, it is morbid to have a fascination with corpses, isn't it? It looks like you're a corpse now, you little shit.
I like how, because they're just... they're just powerful lasers. And you don't need to worry about like
recoil,
but you got to aim them carefully. They're kind of holding them in a way where their main hand holding it is holding the like under barrel of it to aim steadily. It's like a pistol-sized gun.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's just a normal weapon. Oh shit! You're right. They are pistols.
But
what?
It's like if you were holding a pistol, if you were holding a classic revolver like that I love so much,
you would hold it with two hands like this.
No. I'm saying what they're doing.
Yeah.
These guys is they're holding a classic revolver, like by where the chamber is.
Yeah.
And then they just have another hand behind that just to pull the trigger, which isn't going to do any big kickback or anything.
Yeah. Because they're holding it like rifles, but it's not a rifle. It's just a pistol.
Yeah, I like that. It's just
weird.
Yeah. Space lasers.
Yeah, but we literally also just saw
Kesselink
holding a gun normally.
Normal style.
Yeah, two hands around.
Well, his is slightly smaller, actually. Like, he couldn't get his hand on
yeah, true. There's no barrel on that.
These are bigger pistols.
They're almost like rifles.
Sort of halfway between.
Yeah, like a mini kind of gun.
And so for all his scheming, just Kesselink dies.
Yep. There's a moment where him and Rubinsky go back and forth on like, but I was going to kill you. It's like, well, you did.
Rubinsky's like, yeah, I knew you were going to kill me, so I had these men here to kill you.
And it's like, but how did you know? You think Dominique is your ally?
I said you were naive. Did you really believe Dominique was your ally? And he says, that slut. I'm like, oh my god. It's like, I know you're dying, but really.
It's like, Dominique. We love Dominique. Yeah, so...
You resembled me in too many bad ways. And if you'd reduced your eagerness and greed a little more, I probably would have handed over my position and power to you. Anyway, enjoy bleeding out. And then
And then he goes and hides in a bunker.
Like, and now I die.
So that's it. Kesselink's gone.
Yeah.
He's dead. Drowns in his own blood. And Rubinsky looks...
And Robinski's like, well,
angry.
when the coup d'etat happened in the Free Planets Alliance, Job Trunick went and hid underground for a while. I think I'll go do the same. Later, haters.
Earth cult.
I mean, we don't know that. I mean, we know that Rubinsky's associated with the Earth cult, so maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
But maybe he's just gonna...
Be in a bunker.
Yeah.
But it's an
The
Earth
secret
cult.
Rubinsky bunker. Maybe he's gonna go hang out at Dominique's.
Hey, listen.
Dominique, can you put me up for a couple of weeks? There's kind of this whole coup thing happening.
I got time.
And Dominique's smoking her evil cigarette, and she's like, yeah, there's a spare room in the back.
Rubinsky's like, you son of a bitch.
What is... Okay, so Julian... Now we enter the plot of the episode with Julian and the guy whose name I've forgotten today.
Yeah, they're stuck in traffic, so it's...
I like how you just pushed past that. Mashingo.
Mashingo.
Yeah, Mashingo.
Him and Mashingo are just stuck in traffic, so they just get out of the car and walk, because everyone's trying to escape.
And they go to the Alliance Embassy, essentially.
Yep.
As, meanwhile, Minamaya is landing his forces, and he says to them, and this will be important for later, nobody do any raping. I'm not fucking around.
No pillaging, no killing of women, no raping,
Yep.
nothing to do with the kids, alright?
He said, what's the phrase he uses?
I do not mince my words. I will fucking kill you.
No, he uses a really... yes, that is the crux of it, but he uses a really particular phrase. Let me see if I can find it. He also lists off all of the civic institutions he wants to capture, like the Space Navigation Office, the Public Broadcast Center, the Central Traffic Office, the Space Navigation Office, the Orbital Elevator Control Center, the Goods Circulation Control Center, Police Headquarters, the Ground Traffic Control Center, the Hydrogen Motive Power Center, and the Landshares Office, and the Alliance High Commissioner's Office, and the Space Navigation Office, and so on. We're going to get all those, we're going to get the computers.
We need all that precious data.
Here we go. I'll make this strict announcement beforehand. Massacre of civilians, pillaging, and violence towards women are forbidden. Violators will be executed by firing squad directly after a summary trial. Got it? Don't think that Wolfgang Mittermeier is double-tongued.
And that will be relevant. Would you believe?
Would you believe? This very episode.
Yeah.
It feels like something that would happen next episode, but it's actually this very episode.
Well, knowing this show, it'd be like 6 episodes later.
And 100 years from now.
Yeah, some massive scheme would have occurred that's like, oh yeah, true, he did say that. So Julian goes
and
and meets...
Mashingo, they get to the Alliance Commissioner's office, and...
What's the name of this guy? He's the piece of shit.
Yeah, he's the guy that they lent on to get Yang to go to the inquiry.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name, and it's not important.
Yeah, he's
the High Commissioner.
Yeah, he's the High Commissioner, and he's really worried about what the hell's going to go down.
Captain Viola is also here, looking like Super Mario. And he's not. Then his role in this episode is to basically shrug when Viola looks at him for help and then leave. But Julian shows up and they're like, "We need to erase the computer." And the High Commissioner's like, "But I'm so scared of everything." And Julian's like, "Then I'll do it." And then he goes and erases the computer. And when he comes back, everyone but the Commissioner's gone.
And he's like, "Oh, everyone's left. What happened?" It's like, "They all left." It's like, "Well, yes."
All right.
What?
You go and get some easy to move on clothes because
we're out of here.
We're out of here.
We're absolutely leaving right now.
Yeah.
And I think there was a moment where he thought he was going to get away with,
selling out the Alliance to the...
yeah, but
it doesn't happen.
No.
They break into, that is to say, the Empire break into Rubinsky's office. They find Kessellink's corpse. They find his, incredibly well-stocked bar. It's a great, this whole thing is 70s...
New Deco.
Yeah, Art Deco, kind of...
But also a little bit
retro
sci-fi.
future, yeah.
Yes, very retro future.
Yeah.
That is the exact phrase.
It's a beautiful office.
It's the 70s
beautiful.
Sci-fi. It's a beautiful cut. Deep. Yeah. Meanwhile, Julian's like, "Hey, I just need to get an automatic rifle firing device. I'll be right back."
Build one, he said.
He needs to build an automatic rifle firing device. I'll be right back.
So then when the
Empire troops show up at the High Commissioner's
after a
office,
brief shot of some very early CG trucks driving around.
Really weird
Really
choice.
distracting. Yeah. But it seems that someone is in the window firing at them when they arrive, but it doesn't really go anywhere, but ultimately
they've wasted time.
They clear the building and oh no, it was just an automatic firing device.
And with all of this extra time they've bought, Julian is about 20 meters away.
Yeah, they're hiding in an alleyway next door.
Just watching this all go down.
Probably could have saved more time by not constructing the automatic firing device and just leaving.
So yeah, they're out of there. I'm pretty sure that's it on them.
So no, they do have one more scene where they hire a merchant ship to get them out of here, essentially. And the merchant guy, he's like this big fat guy. He's like, I'm actually, 2 degrees acquainted from you because my captain, Bolshevik or something.
Oh, Bolvik?
Maybe.
Baltic
is the Fazan commissioner to the Empire.
Yeah.
But there's another sort of B name like that.
Oh,
It doesn't matter. He's like, he grew up with Yang Wenli and they're close friends. So, I've got a kind of incentive to help you. And also, you're giving me a lot of money. Oh. And then he leaves to go find someone to pilot the ship. And Yuli and Mashengo and the High Commissioner are like, can we trust him? We might have to kill him.
And Yulian's like, I'll do anything. Anything.
To get back to Yang. There's a bit of a time jump. And the narrator informs us that Mittermeier makes his headquarters in the Vltava Hotel.
Ooh, that's a pretty good hotel.
One of my favourites.
I've heard good things about it.
Other than that, he avoided requisitions from the private sector and encouraged the economy to keep running freely. The citizens were encouraged to go about their normal lives. And we see people just walking around, like big sales signs in the background, and then just in the foreground, all these like military police standing over everyone. At the same time, he strictly forbade unreasonable price hikes, and we see the suit salesman from a couple of episodes ago taping over a price tag on a jacket.
It's reduced to clear. Or is it?
We'll never know.
Mittermeier is walking down a corridor with a bunch of other advisors.
Yeah, all of his bridge crew, essentially.
And he looks pissed.
Yeah. Mueller's arriving at 3 o'clock. Mm-hmm. But he's like, we've got to take care of some unpleasant business before then. And they're going to St. Teresa Square to execute some rapists.
And one of the guys is like, are you sure you have to do this? Like, wouldn't it be easier to, like, lock them up or just leave them be?
Even though it was strictly forbidden, they raped a civilian woman and robbed her of her money and valuables. And he says, it's enough to make me want to pull the trigger myself. And one of the guys is like, well, their commander has requested lenient treatment. So, and he's like, no, shut the fuck up. I told you I'm not double-tongued.
And then he walks off furiously.
Yeah.
And then, this scene.
Yeah, then there's the scene where Julian... Yeah. Like I said, we're getting too bogged down in the recap of it all.
We can't recap.
We've already talked about this. We don't need to bring it up again.
I thought this was the bar scene.
No.
Oh.
There's a bar scene later. Spoilers. So they go to St. Teresa Square, and there's like...
This fucking bit.
There's Mittermeier, his firing squad, assembled ranks of soldiers, and then like up on the upper terraces of the city looking over the square, assembled civilian crowds.
And there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of people.
And a couple of his bridge crew give us some character exposition. They say, Admiral Mittermeier hates this kind of criminal act with all his heart. Under the old regime, he executed a noble-born subordinate who killed a civilian in order to rob her. According to military law, it's a matter of course, but the Admiral was born a commoner. He provokes the high nobles, and we're getting shots of the crowds and like a TV camera setting up.
The people love this.
Yeah. And on top of being thrown into military prison, the nobles tried to murder him, but it was only by appealing to... Ruenthal appealed to Lohengrin to save Mittermeier's life. He was, of course, at the time known as Musel and was an admiral at age 19.
Of course.
And we know Lohengrin's, philosophy towards, whether or not you're of high birth or not is less important than how you perform.
Yep.
And so that's how he kind of joined the Lohengrin camp.
There you go.
And then they execute them by firing squad, and all the crowd clap and cheer.
And they're like, yeah! Yeah! It's fucking wild. It's actually wild. Because, couple guys have been killed, and everyone's like, oh, fuck yeah! Like, it's so weird.
It's such a strange moment. Mueller arrives, and together he and Mittermeier speculate about the possibility of a civilian resistance, especially since Rubinsky's gone to ground. But, and then we cut, that's kind of our introduction to this scene where a bunch of Fazani are like, ugh, these imperial dogs occupying us. We should fight back.
And they're like, you wouldn't fight back, would you?
Yeah. We can't trust the politicians, even the Fazani politicians, those scumbags selling us out. Ugh. And then this old man is like, I remember when the Fazan Empire is 100 years old, and I thought I would die before it fell. But I guess it just goes to show things that seem like they're timeless can collapse in an instant. And now I die of old age. Just like The Golden Bomb dynasty fell, now Fazan is going to fall. Yeah?
Aren't we all gonna fall?
Not me.
Oh, wow. Good legs.
Good legs, doing my squats.
Good knees. Good knee action.
They're talking about Lowen Graham and his ambition to take over the universe. And he said, this one guy says, he's the very picture of greed, which isn't cute at all. And our main focus, Fazani guy here responds, can cute rascals succeed?
If you ask me, oh, I bloody think so. I think I could bloody succeed. Bloody me.
On that point, the point of being cute rascals,
Yeah.
the celebrities of this nation are unbeaten and not inferior to him. Fazan, we've got the best cute rascals.
Listen, we're cute.
Ain't I a stinker? Sticking his finger into his dimple.
We're cute, we're rascalous, but most importantly, public execution.
So this captain, he stands up and he's like, we're free people. We're not those dogs who call themselves the Free Planets Alliance, but we're free. Fazan for Fazani. We don't need the Kaiser. We got to look after ourselves. And then, we think that the scene is going to be him like forming like a revolutionary cell. But then the ship guy that Yulian has engaged is doing slow clap in the background. And he's like, I want to offer you a job to get out of this hellhole. And he's like, great, let's go.
He's like, do you even know if you can trust me? He's like, I'd trust anyone at this point. So he's in.
Yep. You'd accept the term? You'd accept without even asking the terms of the job? And he says, to prevent myself from rotting... He looks a bit like Val Kilmer, rest in peace. To prevent myself from rotting in a place like this, I'd accept a request from the devil. Because you're probably a better man than the devil.
Oh my god.
Then they leave, presumably. We don't see it yet.
Yep.
And Lowen Graham arrives, and everyone shouts... very uncomfortably for us, the viewer, Sieg, mein Kaiser.
Oh no.
And he's glistening in the golden hour sunlight.
And everyone's like, he's beautiful.
And we say everyone, it's going to be like his military forces down below. It's not going to be the Fazan people welcoming him with those open arms. And Mittemaier's like, they're calling you the Kaiser. But you're not the Kaiser. The Kaiserin's the Kaiser. But you're basically the Kaiser at this point.
And Lower Graham's like, it's not enough. It's not enough. I need to go get the data.
That's right. I need to go on the computer now.
So
everyone goes to
some administration building or something somewhere.
The navigation office.
The navigation office.
And he tells them all to wait outside the big computer room. And he's like, nobody come in. I'm going to go on the computer for a bit.
I'm just going to Google some stuff.
Go to the High Navigator's office goon cave.
Oh, do you need some help with that? It's like, no one needs to come in. Just leave. Don't worry.
Yeah, knock before you open the door.
Yeah, definitely don't
come in.
Just chill.
And I leave the door open for a while when I'm done.
It's like, seems like a strange thing to do. Hey, why are you taking that pendant of Kirkheis in with you? No, don't worry. I just, don't worry.
So he goes into the big computer that fills up the whole room. It's again, very retro future computer.
Massive screen. Like the Incredibles.
Pulls up a map of the galaxy.
Mm-hmm. He goes through each of the Free Planet Alliance planets.
And we see Astarte, we see Alpha Seal, we see a bunch of places we don't know. And he pulls up a single planet.
I think it might be
We don't know what it is.
Might be Heinesen.
Might be Heinesen. And he's holding his Kirkheis locket. And he says to himself, let's go, Kirkheis. Let's take over the universe. And he holds out the locket with young him and young Kirkgeist and young his sister out towards the planet, presumably Heinesen. I think that's probably a good guess.
Yeah.
And then he closes it, and then he walks out of the room. Like, I've been on the computer.
And he's like, guys, I did it. I used computer.
He doesn't want anyone to see him being sentimental about Kirkgeist, even though they all know he's doing it.
Literally, anyone that's listening from like a meter away will hear him be like, Kirkgeist, guide me. And they're like, what are you doing? He's like, nothing.
And we see Yulian buying bread undercover. We see Rubinsky in Dominique's house, sipping his whiskey.
It's ridiculous.
And they done took over that Fazan.
December has ended. It's the new year.
Yeah, that's right. Because this whole episode has been like from like the 20th through 30th of September.
Of December.
That's what I meant to say. But didn't.
And so the new year will bring about a new ownership of Fazan.
That's right.
Man. Crazy.
Crazy.
Liam?
Nick.
Dare I ask what your highlight was?
Well, my highlight is obviously the anime knife.
Of course.
Yours.
I am your father.
Yes.
But also just that whole reveal of, oh no, I knew you were going to kill me.
I have these men watching the whole time.
Yeah. Incredible.
And they're all in like identical purple suits like Joker goons.
It's so good. It's so good. Lowlights, though.
Good question.
Automatic rifle firing device felt a bit superfluous because it was like, hey, there's a guy in there. Oh, we better go get him.
There's no one in there.
Oh, okay. Well,
All right.
that's it. It's like, okay, sure.
Yeah, it felt like, there could have been a plot there where, it was taking time to delete the computer or whatever. And so they set that up to buy them some time, and there could be some tension about, is it going to fool them for long enough? But
no.
there was none of that.
Yep.
My low light, I think, is I didn't really have a good sense of what the fleet arrangement was in the Eyes Alone episode that necessitated doing the Rose and Ritter boarding action. Like, I love the boarding action itself, but I didn't really understand, why
do they have to do
is the
that?
fleet's out there and the enemy fleet's around them, so we can't use the main gun? Like, if I really, reason it out, I think I can figure it out, but I just don't really have a clear understanding of what that was.
Yeah, it was just a matter of being like, no, we're boarding now. It's like, but why are we boarding?
Hey, we facilitated the coolest scene in the show so far. So.
True. It's true. Oh, it's so good.
Okay,
bang a couple apps.
Yeah, like I said, there are episodes where decades happen. Fazan has been occupied. Yang is back on Eyes Alone. Yulian needs to get back to Yang. Can this captain be trusted?
Impossible to say.
What's going to happen next time on Legend of Galactic Heroes in the episodes entitled The Cold Spell Arrives and Admiral Yang's Ark Fleet.
Ark Fleet?
Let's focus on The Cold Spell Arrives.
Okay. I want to say it's like a real winter has come kind of vibe where it's like, oh, they've taken over Fazan. They're setting up their home base.
And it's like, oh, we used to be used to such decadence here on Fazan, but now we have to queue in the bread line.
Exactly. All this ridiculous expenditure, pointless. All right? It's time to knuckle down.
Yeah, because when Minnemeyer was in charge, he was keeping it pretty norms. But now Reinhardt's there, and he could be like, well, no. You're my subjugates now. Subjugatees.
There's going to be some kind of monologue about how in this economically prosperous society, it is the rich who are the nobles. But everyone's rich, so we can't be having that.
Gotta make them all poor.
Exactly.
100% tariffs on goods from Fazan.
Oh, God.
This show, and the time we are watching it...
It's been post-Liberation Day.
This show really resonates with the global geopolitical environment as we watch it a lot.
It really does. It's like, oh, we have this rich nation. But also, they've been taken over by a military complex that
Let's not get into it.
Anyway. So, that's probably what's going to happen on that one.
Yulian, I think that his captains are going to be trustworthy enough.
Oh, yeah. No doubt in my mind.
So he's going to go on a little Star Odyssey trying to stay one step ahead of the encroaching Imperial fleet.
Yeah.
Trying to get back to Yang.
I reckon he'll just get back to Yang and be like, I'm back. And Yang will be like, I told you to stay there.
Or maybe, that's true, yeah. I'm surprised we aren't getting like a Yulian insurgency arc. Teaming up with Rubinsky.
Could you imagine?
Possibly as well, Yulian will get back to Yang, and even though he's meant to be staying there in Eyes Alone, that he can bring that official rationale to...
He can, quote unquote,
can't even
bring
talk
the
to
rationale.
you when you're like this. That official intelligence would give them like the counter Casus Belli to go and fight at the Fazan corridor, maybe? Who knows? Or maybe the Ark fleet will be Yang being like, you know what? Fuck this shit. We're going to go do what Arl Heinesen did and go make our own space nation.
I'm genuinely tempted? I'm genuinely thinking that Yang will break off from Eyes Alone in some way, in an unofficial capacity, to save the day. Because he'll be like, my duty is to protect...
And then all of the politicians will be like, Yang Wenli is finally going rogue and declaring himself a military dictator.
No, I reckon what'll happen
Which is not what he's doing.
Yeah, I reckon they'll all go... Yang Wenli's leaving Eyes Alone? Oh no, that's the worst possible state of affairs. And then someone will go, we must trust in Yang Wenli. He is the magician.
But they don't.
Well, no.
But they don't, they hate him.
No, but they'll probably just go, we have to believe because...
What else do they have?
Exactly. They're like, we have this giant fortress, we've got a full, fleet.
We've got one guy in our military who knows how to win battles.
And that's Yang Wenli. So let's just hope whatever he's about to do is going to work. I don't see that
happening, but time will tell.
Who knows?
Time will tell. But until that time, look, in the event that JoJo Day is like, Steel Ball Run is happening now. It's out now, today, which I don't think will be likely.
No.
But if that does happen, we'll have to figure out what to do. And I think potentially we should finish this arc, at least, because that'll give me time to watch ahead and prepare some notes and stuff.
Yep.
But we'll take that as it comes.
I'll be honest, I don't see it happening. Not even an announcement of Steel Ball Run.
What do you think will happen?
I think...
Keeping in mind, by the time people hear this, they'll know.
Oh, no. I reckon what'll happen is they'll announce maybe, like...
New movie adaptation. Part 4, Part 2.
Ooh, maybe it'll just be, hey, we're doing a fashion...
DVD box set, parts 1 through 6.
Oh, maybe, actually. Like a collector's edition thing.
Yeah.
It's like, relive the journey.
With exclusive commentary from Hirohiko Araki.
Yes. It's like literally, like, here's some excerpts. So I was invited to come watch these episodes to give my feedback, which I forgot was actually happening because I was working so much. So what you see on the screen has nothing to do with my input. But I think they did it.
Skipping ahead 30 episodes. Yeah, so I was in the grocery store and I was like, oh, do I need more toothpaste or am I good?
And then it's like his wife is there being like, you didn't need more toothpaste?
Darling, be quiet. I'm writing the author's commentary.
It's like,
look, now I've written that down.
Now I have to say all of this out loud.
Yeah. Yeah, so look forward to that. But, as I say, depending on what the news is, we will take it as it comes. We are obviously keen to get back to JoJo, but...
God, I'm so excited if it happens, but I don't think it will. But imagine if it does. Oh.
Do you want to put money on that bitch?
10,000
new yen.
Yeah. Which I think is like $8.
But until then,
to be continued.